Guys, we need to talk about cryptos. Since I last posted about cryptos, a lot of you have reached out to me and asked me what is going on with the crypto market. Cryptocurrencies have been on a wild ride this year. Just over the last 3 months, we've seen record highs and then crashes with cryptocurrencies. On April 13th, Bitcoin saw a record high of just over $63,000. And on May 7th, Dogecoin hit a record high of 70 cents. Since then, Bitcoin has crashed, and as of today, May 23rd, it's trading around $35,000. And Dogecoin is trading around 30 cents. Hey everyone, it's Prashant here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and thank you for joining me in today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, specifically about the recent crash in the cryptocurrency market and reasons as to why this might have happened. Let's dive in. Before we continue our discussion any further today, it is important to understand the magnitude of the crypto space. Let us talk about market cap, which is the value of all the cryptocurrency in circulation as of any given date. When we talk about Dogecoin, its peak market cap was about $94 billion. It has since crashed and it is now about $39 billion. So even though it seems like it's just a meme coin and its value is less than $1, we're still talking about big money overall. In fact, holders of Bitcoin have cumulatively lost over $55 billion. That's a lot of money. And when we talk about Bitcoin, it had a peak market value of $1.2 trillion with a T. And if you compare it to companies, there are only 5 companies in the world with market cap greater than that of Bitcoin. Apple, Saudi Aramco, Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet, in that order. And to make another comparison, just to see exactly how ludicrous the market cap of Bitcoin is, if you compare this with the GDP of countries, which is the gross domestic product or the sum of all the products and values that a country produces, there are only 16 countries in the world that have a GDP that's higher than the market cap of Bitcoin. Only 16! Unfortunately for the holders of Bitcoin, the market value of Bitcoin has since crashed. And as of today, May 23rd, 2021, the market cap of Bitcoin is about $646 billion. This means that the holders of Bitcoin have lost over $554 billion worth of market value. This is larger than the GDP of the country of Sweden. Guys, before we continue with this video, I want to take a second to ask you to hit that like button and that subscribe button. This helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm and motivates me to keep making these videos. Also, if you don't mind sharing this video with a friend, coworker, or family member who might find this video interesting, I would really appreciate that. That being said, let's get back to today's video. Okay, now that we've established that we are indeed talking about huge amounts of money here, we should next think about why this crash might be happening, and when and even if the price of Bitcoin and Dogecoin might come back up. Before we get into all that, I want to take a minute to remind everybody that we have seen this historic rise in prices of cryptocurrencies in just this year. If we go back to January of 2021, we see that Bitcoin was trading around $32,000, and then it rose to its peak of about $63,000 before crashing back down to today's about $34,000, $35,000. And with Dogecoin, it was trading at far less than just 1 cent at the beginning of January of 2021, and then it rose to about 70 cents before crashing back down to today's about 30 cents. So all this goes to show that this entire rise and then subsequent fall in cryptocurrencies happened in just this year. And that exposes the biggest problem when it comes to cryptocurrencies as an investment, and that is that they're very, very volatile. This is even more true for smaller, newer altcoins. Every week there seems to be a new altcoin out there. There are some more established ones such as Ethereum, Litecoin, and Cardano. And then there are newer ones like XRP, Safemoon, and Shiba Inu. A lot of these coins start trading at less than 1 cent, their prices goes up really quickly and then crashes back down. They seem to be just pump and dump schemes. Every week a new coin comes onto the market, there's a lot of hype about it in social media, its price skyrockets, and then there's a lot of people who sell and the price goes back down. And that is a huge problem in the cryptocurrency space right now. So when it comes to why the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is crashing today, there are a few headwinds that I see in today's environment. Let's go through them one by one and try to understand each one of them in some detail. Number one, Elon Musk. Ironically, one of the biggest and most public supporters and basically a hype man of cryptocurrencies, Elon Musk, has recently contributed to the crash in the prices of Bitcoin. Recently, he tweeted that Tesla will no longer be accepting Bitcoin as payment for its cars. He said this was because he was concerned about the carbon emissions involved with Bitcoin trading. Now, he may have a point here. According to a study by the University of Cambridge, up to 65% of all Bitcoin mining occurs in China. And since China relies on coal-fired thermal power plants to generate its electricity, there is a pretty good argument that can be made that Bitcoin mining in China is based on coal-fired thermal power plants. Now, certainly coal is one of the dirtiest ways of producing electricity. And so it can be argued that a lot of Bitcoin mining that occurs there is contributing to carbon emissions in the area. Now, there is some speculation that Elon Musk, who is as smart as he is and has the amount of resources that he does, did not know about this before he announced that Tesla now owns $1 billion in Bitcoin and will be accepting them to buy Teslas. So there are some people who are speculating that there might be something going behind the scenes behind his U-turn on cryptocurrencies. However, we may never know. Now, we all know that Elon Musk has been hyping up Dogecoin this entire year. He tweets about it regularly and even talked about it during his appearance on SNL. Now, it seems to be clear that Dogecoin became a part of a pump and dump scheme where a lot of people bought a lot of Dogecoin leading up to that SNL episode. And the price spiked just before that episode and crashed literally during the episode. I watched it happen with my own eyes. Even though since then, Elon Musk has been hyping up Dogecoin and tweeting about it and even announced that he's working with the developers of Dogecoin, we have not really seen a huge spike in the price of Dogecoin. You see, whatever happens to the price of Bitcoin typically happens to the price of other cryptocurrencies. In fact, if you put a chart of Bitcoin and then a chart of Dogecoin, you'll see pretty similar shapes in the value of those two. Number two, China. The second headwind that I can see to Bitcoin is China. You see, this week China announced that they will be banning any banks or other financial institutions from offering any crypto-based services to its consumers. Previously, they have banned crypto exchanges and coin offerings in China. This can be a huge impact to the price of Bitcoin. In fact, after this announcement, the price of Bitcoin briefly crashed and then recovered. China has been developing a digital currency called the digital yuan, and they've even been piloting this out with some people there. If China decides that that's the currency that they want their people to use, they might be encouraging people to use the digital yuan going forward and might highly discourage the use or widespread adoption or even holding of Bitcoin. They might even ban Bitcoin and other cryptos outright. And if this happens, this could mean a big crash in the price of Bitcoin. Number three, US regulation. This week, the Treasury Department announced that it will require that any transfers of any cryptocurrencies in the amounts of $10,000 or higher must be reported to the IRS. The Biden administration is pushing for more funding to the IRS to make sure that people comply with US tax laws, and keeping a track of cryptocurrency transactions is just another part of this effort. On top of this, currently the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, does not regulate the trading of cryptocurrencies. It is possible that that might change soon. On Thursday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell announced that the Federal Reserve is exploring its own digital currency, or the CBDC, a central bank digital currency. In fact, they will be working on a white paper which will be published later in the summer, exploring what a digital dollar might look like. If the US government does come out with a digital dollar, they might recommend or encourage people use that, and that might cause a reduction in interest in Bitcoin, and thus a crash in the prices of Bitcoin and other cryptos. On the other hand, if the US government does come out with a digital dollar, they will be in control of that asset. The whole point of Bitcoin is that it's decentralized, that no single central government can control it. Completely opposite than what a digital dollar might do. This might cause a spike in interest in Bitcoin and thus a spike in its cost. We just don't know what's going to happen yet. Number 4, no more stimulus. The fourth headwind that I see to the prices of cryptocurrencies is, ironically, the reopening of the economy. At least in the US, the pandemic seems to be retreating. More and more people are getting vaccinated, more and more businesses are opening up, and people are going back to work. The CDC has dropped its mask mandates, and states are all loosening restrictions. A lot of businesses are open at 100% capacity, and a lot of more people are going back to work in person. To add to that, I think it is fair to say that there will be no more stimulus coming. I think people who are interested in the stock market in general and cryptocurrencies in particular while they were under lockdown at home. And to add to that, because of the stimulus checks that were coming, some people might have had a little bit more money, which led them to invest that into the stock market and even cryptocurrencies. With people going back to work full-time and in person, I think people might not have as much time to think about investing in the stock market and cryptos in particular, which might lead to a cool off in the prices of cryptocurrencies. Number 5, Bitcoin or crypto winter. Since Bitcoin was created in 2009, its price seems to have developed a pattern. It seems to follow a 4-year cycle, and towards the end of this cycle, the price of Bitcoin dramatically rises to peak before crashing back down. And this cycle tends to repeat itself every 4 years. The first crash happened in 2013 and another one in 2017. This crash is called the Bitcoin winter. Nobody seems to know why this happens. We just know that it happens. Unfortunately, because there are no underlying fundamentals to Bitcoin, it is really hard to do an analysis and understand exactly what is going on that causes this crash. But if this pattern holds true, then Bitcoin is due for a crash in 2021. And if you're a believer in history repeats itself, you probably believe that a crash in the price of Bitcoin is coming. And since we've already established that whatever happens to the price of Bitcoin happens to the price of other cryptos, it is safe to say that we might be heading into a Bitcoin and a wider crypto winter. I cannot say for sure if the current cooling off is part of that crash or if this is just regular volatility. Unfortunately, we won't know for sure until we've lived through it and have the benefit of hindsight. So, to go back to your question of when is my crypto portfolio going to recover, I just don't know. You see, as I've said in my previous crypto videos, you should treat all cryptos as high risk, high reward investments. It might even be appropriate to treat them as gambles, which is what I do. It's not a great idea to put more than 1 to 5% of your net worth in cryptos. And if your portfolio is down, hopefully you can hold on to it for a long time and hope that your portfolio recovers relatively soon. I'm a long-term investor and I tend to be comfortable holding any investment from 5 to 40 years. So I'm not too concerned about this current crash. To add to that, I only have a few $100s invested into cryptocurrencies, so my exposure is so low that I'm content to just sit back and see what happens. So that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Please go ahead and smash that like button and that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified instantly when I post a new video. I post at least one new video every week with great new financial content, and I would love to see you guys back here. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I will leave the handles in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.